So, Mike, have you ever heard of the Netflix movie? It's a documentary, actually, called The King of Clones.
King of Clone? No.
Yeah. So, do you remember that a long time ago there was a sheep that was cloned named Dolly?
Yeah, I do remember the sheep.
Right? The sheep named Dolly, right? It was like a big deal, and it was like all over the world news about it. Well, the documentary is about the doctor who led that team to do that, right?
Okay.
And it was about like his rise and fall in the medical community. So basically what he started doing was he started cloning like small animals at first, right? Doing like rats and rabbits and stuff like that, making clones, and dogs, right? Once he started cloning dogs, that was a big deal because the dog, I guess a dog genome is really difficult because there's so many different breeds and things like that that could, I guess screw it up. That's the super simple way. They explained it in more detail in the documentary, but I'm an idiot, so I just dumbed it down, right?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You got it. So after he was doing dogs and things like that, he started doing working on camels, but there was this camel that was dead for 10 years or some shit like that, which they were able to actually clone after 10 years and basically bring this animal who had been dead for so long back to life.
I just heard about the sheep. He went more?
Dude, he was saying that he cloned over 1,600 animals. Yeah, 1,600, right? Throughout his research. The dude is
Noah's Ark.
Yeah, basically, except it's all fucking clones. He got in trouble though when he started to work on humans, right? On human cloning. And the thing that actually got him in, kind of fall from grace was when he basically stole women's eggs, their from their ovaries. He basically stole it from them because they had donated them for some other reason. Not for his research, but for something else, and he just took them.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so that's what got him in trouble, was his ethics behind what he was doing, not necessarily what he was doing.
Yeah, it sounds fucked up.
Right, yeah, you can't just go taking fucking people's shit without having their permission. So that was kind of his fall. But the thing is, he didn't actually see any jail time because of that. He only ended up getting 1 year, and that was for embezzling grant money, So he only went to jail for 1 year because apparently there's no real jail time for lying in regards to science, So if you're a scientist, it's kind of weird. You would think there would be, but there really isn't. And
next time I do a crime, I'm gonna base it around science.
Yeah, he legitimately didn't get in any trouble for that, except for the embezzling of the money part. But you can't embezzle money in any field, otherwise you get fucked. Yeah. But anyway, this write-in question I saw it online. So I was like, you know what, we didn't get a write-in this week. I'll just use this question online and see what you think. It has to do with clones, right?
And see what the followers think too.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I want to know.
Ain't just about me,
So, Mike, this is a question that I'm honestly kind of curious what you think. It says, how do you feel about designer babies? So the first question is, are you familiar with what a designer baby is?
Not really. Somebody who wears Prada.
That's a fancy ass baby. Yep.
Yeah,
bougie ass babies.
Wears Louis Vuitton and Prada.
What'd you call it? Louis Vuitton?
Louis Vuitton and Prada.
All right. So basically what a designer baby is, for anybody out there who doesn't know, just a quick rundown of it is a baby that you can design to have traits that you request, right? So say you're having a baby, you and your husband, you're like, okay, well, we want the baby to have green eyes, right? So then the doctor or whomever it is will be like, okay, well, that's a $3,000 charge if you want green eyes. Okay, cool. So you check that box. Okay, we want it to be at least 6'1", 6'2".
So you bring a menu out.
But kind of there's literally just a fucking, you kind of just choose what it is, right? And it'd be like, all right, well, that's going to be another $5,000. Okay, you check that off. All right, I want to make sure that he has a proficiency in the maths, like STEM, right? Okay, cool. That's going to be a $10,000 charge, right?
Yeah.
And you're basically just choosing this baby's traits, right? And then through genetic engineering, you will have that baby, right?
Yeah.
And that's what a designer baby is, right? So I'm just curious, how do you feel with the thought of a designer baby?
Part of me is against it, and I really don't know why I'd be against it, but I don't I feel like with like teaching them knowledge like math and stuff like that. I think that just takes away from raising a kid, I think. But that's just like okay, you want him to be good at math, you want him to be good at science, like adapt that, which I don't really see that possible. But like to change like a characteristics like your eyes or something like that, or your height, I think the biggest characteristic the only one I really care about is not really even to care about it, but just eye color. I don't know, I just think like having a green or blue eyes, because nobody in my family's ever gonna have green or blue eyes.
So because what, it stands out?
Yeah, just because it would stand out, because my kids, they're tan. And let's say like, okay, I give my son green, I give my daughter blue, I give my other daughter like hazel or something like that. You know, it's a real light. And I just think that just looks so unique, and it make them look so different.
That would help them stand out in the crowd kind of thing a little bit?
But like, I think that's like the only thing I would care about. But I mean, they got context for that shit. But I mean,
well, here's my question though. Wouldn't you want your kid to have the best chance possible to succeed in life? And wouldn't giving them brains like extra a little bit, boost in the fucking cognitive department kind of be good?
I mean, if it's like guaranteed, I guess. But I mean, like I said, I just feel like if you gonna sit there and be like, man, I know my kid's gonna be good at math. Fuck it, I ain't gonna teach that motherfucker nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't never gonna help him out in that department. Which I mean, ultimately you will, because you're a parent. But I mean, I just think I think it takes away from raising a kid. I think just that aspect.
So
but, like characteristics, I think are pretty cool.
Yeah. So you're okay with the changing of the eye, like physical traits?
Yeah.
Eye color, or maybe saying like, okay, they
hair color, eye color,
or like dimples, giving them dimples, or giving them a cleft chin, or some shit like that. Like those kind of things you're cool with. But when it comes to like, when it comes to more of the like cognitive side of a person, that's where you're like, I don't want to fuck with.
Yeah, I don't feel like you should have had to mess with that part.
Gotcha. So I think I'm cool with it, because I see designer people more as like literally just human advancement, I guess. I feel like it's inevitable. People are going to be like, people are going to need to be smarter, better looking and shit like that. Like, it's just the natural progression of things. Like, I mean, even, but that's like,
also saying like, that's like also still putting down the people that are not wealthy. They're not going to be able to afford that stuff. So it's always going to keep them at the bottom.
That is true. That is also a factor that you kind of got to keep in mind of. Like, this is not going to be for a cheap thing. This is not for the masses.
Exactly, yeah.
This is going to be for people who have those like resources to get it done.
So I mean, it's always going to keep the not wealthy always behind. That's what I feel like too.
Yeah, and that's not, and actually, like, you're right in the sense of also like this. If you're going to have even smarter people being born who are wealthy, then it's going to be even worse for the not wealthy people who are just regular people. Like that is that is going to hurt them.
I can't afford that.
Speak for your goddamn self.
One eye. My kid will have one fucking
green eye. That's it. And blind in the other one.
How much is one?
That's it.
How much is one leg to be longer than the other one? That's all I can afford.
I'm not. The thing is, like, I get kind of sketched out when it comes to people talking about designer babies getting rid of any type of person with like a flaw. So like, basically say like your kid is going to have Down syndrome, for example, right? And you're like, I don't want that. Here's my money, fix it, kind of deal. Like that's where I'm kind of like, that's I think a little too far for me, So I don't know how I don't know how you remedy that situation, but it is something to think about, because that's obviously going to come up eventually. It's like, it's just ethics. It's an ethical thing. I don't know why I feel that way, but I just do. There was also this other thing that this kind of tied into, and it was involving like the King of Clones, or the Clone King, whatever the hell, where they were talking about basically growing babies for
another planet.
No, what?
That'd be awesome.
No, they're growing these babies who don't actually like have like brain function for their organs. So like you grow a kid, and then like it's for a different person. Yeah, but the thing is, these babies they're not like functionally alive. Like they don't really have
Yeah.
their brains are dead, but the rest of their body is alive. So they have a working heart, they have lungs, everything else works, and can be transplanted into another person who needs them.
Yeah.
You know, and shit like that. And how do you feel about stuff like that? You know,
that's where the zombie apocalypse starts. That's how it's going to happen. If we're talking about this, that's how the zombie apocalypse is going to start.
It's just a weird state. I don't know. It's just a weird thing to think about. But I think like we're going to have this discussion eventually, because I feel like it's just around the corner kind of thing. So
yeah, that's crazy to think about.
Right? What do you guys think about the whole designer baby situation and like the whole, cloning babies in order to just kind of farm them for their organs, basically? Would appreciate it if you would leave those comments down below.